Learning process. OMG, we are live. What's going on? It is, man, we're not even doing Wednesday anymore. I'm gonna restart this. Hold on a second. Caught me up. Hold on. Let's see. Yes, what is going on? We are back on a day that we haven't done in I forget how long. It is Monday, the 26th of October, 2015, and this is the Seacoast Beverage Lab podcast. Like again, for the 26th of October, 2015. I'm your host, and we are back. And we haven't done Monday in a while. Wednesdays are gone. It's off the calendar. The Mayans decreed it in October. It's now gone. It's just 6 days a week. No kidding. We move back to Monday because it's easier for a lot of us for live shows. Doesn't affect anyone that's downloading right now. You might be downloading a day early, than you usually do, so that's cool. But yeah, we are doing this show. We have a lot to talk about. Portland Beer Week is on the up and up here, and I'm talking about Portland, Maine, of course. And I am drinking the Nefarious Imperial Stout by Garrison City of Dover. It took a mini screwdriver to just peck away at that little.
So that looks like some thick wax.
It's super thick. It's a great beer. It was released on Saturday, and I believe they sold out as of Sunday. I'm not sure though. As of Sunday, they had 23 bottles left. I'm not sure how many they had in total. It was a good beer, but we'll get to why I think there's still some left when we talk about kind of what the hell happened in Maine last weekend. But Carla? Speaking of Maine, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing? Carla here, known as Beer Babe online. I don't know why our little lower thirds don't work, but that's who I am. And if you don't know by now, now you know. I am drinking a Long Trail Harvest Barn Ale. I picked this up because I had no idea what they meant by a barn ale. It's actually a brown ale.
Okay.
But it's got a little bit of maple syrup in it, so it's very fall, very appropriate for the season right now.
Nice. Yeah, no, I was thinking barn ale. It's like, okay, so you're too snooty to call it a farmhouse ale. It's like a one step down. It's a barn.
Well, if it smells like hay.
Yes, I get a hay note and some cow, maybe some
A little manure.
Yeah. Speaking of manure, Sean, great segue as usual. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? I'm Sean Jansen from twobeerguys.com. I'm currently enjoying a Foolproof. It's a variation of their everyday porter called Rain Cloud. This is the peanut butter Rain Cloud porter.
Excellent.
So those with nut allergies, be aware. Maybe you might have to wash your hands after watching the show today.
Totally.
If you don't have a nut allergy, I would stop by your local store and get it while it's in supply. The peanut butter is not overwhelming. I believe, there's a couple of breweries out there that make a beer with peanut butter. The most popular one is out of Virginia area called Dewclaw, and they make Sweet Baby Jesus.
Okay. Yep. There's that peanut butter. Nice.
Yeah, this has peanut butter in it. So,
nice.
So if you've had Sweet Baby Jesus, that's very nutty. You can kind of smell the shell. This is it's got about a thicker mouthfeel. You get a little bit of peanut butter on the background. It goes really good with chocolate.
I mean, their Rain Cloud in general is such a good beer. Like Foolproof's doing real good things with that beer because as a porter, that's like one of there's Robust Porter from Spunny Nose, and then I look like for Foolproof. It's good stuff. And then that peanut butter Rain Cloud is tasted. They had it at the Red Hook Beer Fest. Did we talk about that at all? I don't think we did because
we didn't talk about the Red Hook Beer Fest.
Oh boy!
But
let's recap.
Just staying on the Rain Cloud Robust Porter,
hit it.
Segueing into one of our other topics.
Yeah.
We did get a silver medal at the Great International Beer Fest.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, let's talk about it.
So we don't have to segue there, but we can talk about event recaps first. But just mentioning the beer there that was got a medal.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. I want to talk about because what happened last weekend. I mean, we were talking about it 2 weeks ago. Maine was getting ready for something crazy, and there were, I believe, 6 events that actually went on in Maine all at once. And then New Hampshire had one, which was the release of the Nefarious here, which was great. But so let's just do a quick thing, and if I forget something, Carl, just let me know.
Sure.
But starting from the earliest. No, we had the dinner release, which over up in Main Beer, and I saw a bunch of Instagram pictures, and I got a couple texts from people that were online saying they got there at 7:30 and they'd already passed out all the numbers. So it was that crazy. I don't know how many bottles were there. I don't know if you heard, Carla, what the situation was on the ground.
No, but I know that about mid-afternoon they were out of cases to buy, but they were inviting people in to still try it in the tap room. So I think that people didn't leave completely empty-handed. If they really wanted to try dinner for the first time, they could still get a flight with dinner in it. And I actually didn't hear. They've had some trouble in the past with this release. Just being crazy and kind of being a little disorganized. And I didn't hear any negative.
That's good.
Stuff about this one this time. So I don't know if they just got the hang of it or what. But sounds like it went pretty well. I did not get up early for that though.
Yeah, and it was super cold too. I mean, to be that early, I did a 5K humble brag, but I did a race at like 9 and it was 30 degrees out.
Yeah.
Easy.
Did you win?
Won. Yeah, of course I won. Please.
Of course.
I won this beer in first place. No, so moving down south.
That wasn't like the consolation prize.
No, yeah. Moving down south to Allagash area. Allagash had their Ghoul Ship release, as well as what was it called? Is it called their Dark House? It's Haunted House. Their new Dark House beer.
Yes, they called it Haunted House.
Yeah.
And they had that whole Industrial Way area was pretty hopping throughout the whole day. But they also had they actually had people at Allagash show up in costume and stuff, and
That's
it
cool.
was quite fun. And then across the way, Bissell, there were a couple folks outside of Bissell that had a pig roast going on, and it was a whole thing. So they had the Bissell Swish release. I believe they still had cans of some Afterglow from Foundation, and then behind they also had another bottle release from Austin Street. So there were a lot of people, but I heard a lot of people did not get the Swish that they wanted from Bissell because it was just so crazy. The line was, around the block over to the Hannaford.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Well, does that mean that nobody, the people you talked to, didn't get any? Or that they were expecting to get a couple 4-packs and didn't get a couple 4-packs.
Zero.
Goose
egg. The thing about Bissell, and probably one of the reasons that it's really good beer, but one of the reasons that they are so sought after is because they do go in limited quantities, and if you get there and there isn't any left, it's not like they have an extra room in the back warehouse to bring out more. That's literally it. They wheel a pallet out, and when that pallet is gone, that's it.
And it's it was for 2 or 3 weeks they've been hinting that it's been coming. So people that wanted to go to that chose that event to go because obviously there was so much going on. So people were ready to get on that. And I wonder how early they were there for that. We got the train.
I don't know what time they started lining up, but I did see pictures of it going all the way back to the Hannaford, which is a block and a half away from.
Pretty gnarly.
Where that is. Yeah.
So this is probably my favorite of all the events that I wish I'd gone to, but going way up back north is the Oxbow's Goods from the Woods. And I should have brought the glass. I was there 2-3 years ago with Ben BM Watts, and it was a great time. But Carla, were you there?
I've never gone.
Oh God. Oh, okay, we'll get up there. But yeah, so
it's always conflicted with a regular travel that I do. So, but this year it just didn't work out for me to go. I was in town, but I was seeing all the wonderful pictures and still uber jealous. So next year I'll go.
Yeah, so from the pictures I saw from the Instagram and all the Tweetervilles, it looked really good. And then last but definitely not least was kind of to me it was a surprise because I thought this beer was going to be an annual release. But Todd Mott released a second batch of Mott the Lesser, which he claimed his fall release.
When was the last one?
I want to say March.
Okay.
I want to say mid-March, but I forget.
It wasn't too cold outside, and
it was almost cold because I remember we were waiting in the shade, and then once the sun hit, it was there's the sun because it was still kind of early. But I heard the response was great. The bottles sold out the same day. I heard it wasn't as hectic from the people I had on the ground, from the boots on the ground I had there. And I think they still have some on tap now. So if you were to go over there and try some, they would get it.
Well, if it wasn't the day of all days to go out and get special release beers, it probably would have had a much bigger crowd.
I think so.
Not to belittle anything else that was out there, but it's
Yeah, and a lot of the Seacoast folks that are normally down there that are the beer geeks did make the trip up for Goods from the Woods. I know
That's good.
a lot of New Hampshire, like the diehards, the beer traders, that they were all up at Oxbow.
Oh, yep. So yeah, so I heard it was good times, and I even drove by the brewery today just because it was on my route from lunch, and I saw the tent was still out there. It looked like a bigger tent from last year, just because they had a little overflow, the rights to do that. I was definitely nervous because when they did it last year, or when they did it last time, it was on a Wednesday, I think, and it was still packed. So I can imagine what it was like on a weekend. But again, so many events spread out over time, it probably kind of diffuse that situation. Another small thing, but definitely worth mentioning. There was a Kick the Keg event at York River Landing, and it was a collaboration beer between Some and York River Landing.
Nice.
It was a tasty sour beer, very 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 good. And New Hampshire had, like I said, the Nefarious Stout, which was tasty treats. They weren't giving samples out. In fact, they only had a couple beers on tap, so they were running low on beer when I was there. But there weren't that many people there when I was there. But from what I saw, from like I said, from Facebook or Twitter, they had some bottles left. So if you're still in the area, you can check it out. That's their second bottle release. They released I believe a raspberry Flanders or something like that we got, but my wife's more excited than I am for her sour, so I was like, okay, let's just get it. But yes. But yeah, I want to quickly just say a couple words about the Red Hook Fest, which was cool. Sean, you weren't able to make this time. I will.
Unfortunately not. Yeah.
So a couple things went against it, but what was very very good. It was well laid out. It was
Yes.
it was like the best layout they've ever had of.
Okay, so I'll take that back. I delivered beer on Friday to it.
Oh, so you saw the layout
I
of it.
saw the layout, yeah.
Okay.
So if I could describe it to other people, help you out, Brian.
Get in there.
Beforehand, they tried to use like one parking lot section and cascade out the tents so that you still only had whatever was an extra space in between. Instead, what they now did was that they used two parking lot sections with like that big grassy knoll in between and had the tents on the outside of those sections. So rather than like one tent line interfering with the other tent line, you literally had like all these separate tents lined up, and you could easily flow back and forth.
And so it was great. They had in the middle was some food and Brew and H and things like that. That was good. What seemed to be kind of on the negative side, there weren't that many tickets sold. From a consumer side, it was great because you can kind of freely move. But I noticed from the night before there were still plenty of tickets available, which were the week before there were two festivals in New England. Week before that, I mean, we're in festival season, so people are picking and choosing their festivals now. So it's getting kind of lighter and lighter of a crowd. The beers were great, and then another thing that was out of their control, it was just super cold, even for the day session. So I can't imagine.
Yeah.
That was the
right
Arctic
session.
Blast weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of like if the wind wasn't blowing, it was like, okay, this is not bad at all. And the minute the wind picked up, you were like, ooh.
So I mean, the sun was there, and then it's like you kind of run in for a beer in the tent and then come out and just stand in the sun, kind of thing. But again, good stuff. I remember that's the first time I had the peanut butter porter was there for the VIP, and that's usually the annual release of Portsmouth Brewery's Hop Harvest beers. They kick them off there. Those are I'm a big Hop Harvest 2 fan. My wife's a big Hop Harvest 1 fan. If you get a chance to go to Portsmouth Brewery, I'm sure they're still there because they brew a bunch this time of year, and it's so good, the Hop Harvest beer there. Couple of no-shows. I mean,
Really?
So I say no-shows. I mean people that just didn't go to this festival. Not that they were listed and didn't show up. So they're like Earth Eagle is usually there, but they weren't listed this year. Portsmouth Brewery wasn't listed, but they did show up. So it's kind of like interesting. But again, like I said, there was tons of festivals. I know Earth Eagle was at 2 festivals the week prior, so they probably allocated that beer that way. Totally cool.
Right, yeah. It's like, do I go to a festival or do I not have enough beer?
Yeah.
Do I go to a festival and not have enough beer to pour in the tap room?
Yep.
Or I mean, so that's a tough balance there.
I will say though that it continues to be a really well organized fest.
Totally.
If people haven't gone, it's nice fall fest for me. It's not one of those ones where they, pack you into a, gymnasium or something. It's still outside. Everybody's wearing their coats and their scarves. But they really did a nice job running it. The volunteers are very organized. They got people in a really good way. I don't know if you noticed this, Brian, but
totally.
So normally the biggest bottleneck to get into a fest is, they've got one person checking IDs and letting one person through at a time. What they ended up doing is before the gates opened, they ID'd everybody in line and gave you a wristband. And then they let you through into kind of almost like a mezzanine area where there was any beer yet, but they gave you a glass, and then they had one of those snow gates, the plastic gating.
Yep.
When the time came, they just opened it up, and everybody in that mezzanine area could go in at once. And I thought that was awesome.
We like to call that the holding area.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care if I don't care if you call it the cage, but it was great because there was no bottleneck, and then also the people who were checking IDs weren't rushed. The people who were scanning tickets weren't fumbling at the ticket scanner. I thought it was really good, and other breweries that are hosting fests could really learn from that. That one we went to up in Conway.
Oh yeah, the Lincoln
done that.
Fest. Yeah.
They should ID people in line.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then just check tickets at the door, something like that. So something that preloads the work away from the door.
Yes.
And a really good holding area would have some food.
It wasn't that long though. It was literally
It was It's like they let them in. So they in this particular time they saw the holding area and they checked the IDs in line up to a point. They didn't want to go all the way down so people would sneak in and things like that. But they did the wristband early on this time. But where that becomes a scary situation is in case of the VIP people like us is all of a sudden you look at your watch and it's 12:59 and you look over at the holding area and they're about to unleash the hounds.
Just like a herd of
and all of a sudden they're just coming. You're trying to grab your last beer before it gets a little bit more crowded. But great festival. It was awesome to see Wormtown there. Ballast Point made an appearance this time. So
I wish I could remember. There was one from Rhode Island I really liked.
With no shows came some new guys. So it was, I believe, 35 breweries. So there was plenty of beer and stuff. But yeah, so big shout out to them. Great fest. That's all I have for shout outs. Carla, would you do anything past couple weeks before we get into and then we'll get to Sean, but then we'll go to the GIBS.
Other than that fest, I did go down to Liquid Riot and try their bourbon whiskey on Friday or Thursday of last week. They, for those who don't know, they both brew beer and they also do spirits. And I'm a big whiskey person, so I went down to check that out. It was pretty good. It's not my style of whiskey. I like them a little. I don't know the words though. I like them a little heartier. This was kind of sweet. But it was very good, and actually met a beer blogger down there from Connecticut, which was very cool. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, it was just a good time. But I did kind of lay low this weekend. I did not go traipsing all over the state in anticipation to prepare my liver for spoiler alert next week.
Yes. Oh my God. Yep. For sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, with that bell toll, Sean, what did you get up to? I know you were down in Florida for a bit, but did you get anything beer related done up around these parts?
You know what? I didn't go to. I did spend some time visiting some new places in Manchester that I haven't been to yet, which is always a fun thing.
Nice.
We've talked about beforehand Central Ale House, where you can go in and pour your own beer.
Yes.
From the different taps. You get a little swipe card. That's a pretty cool experience. That'd be a good SBL podcast trip.
Man. Yes. Oh, that'd be cool. Yep.
Come in and check out beers with us at the at Central Ale House. I didn't attend it, but I was following it through social media. This was the third annual Beer Lovers Weekend last weekend. That was co-hosted with the Granite State Growler Tours, New Hampshire Beer Bus. I think it's they partner up with Victoria Inn, and it's a Beer Lovers Weekend where it starts off with activities on Friday night and extends all the way, I think, to Sunday morning.
Yeah, and I saw on Saturday they went to Deciduous for a private tour, then they went over to Neighborhood in Exeter for a tour. So I heard, if those two places don't make you happy, I don't know what kind of Beer Lovers Weekend you're trying to have, but they definitely had a good time from what I saw.
Exactly.
Sweet. Well, let's talk real quick about GIBF because Shano, take it from here because you said GIBF and I'm like GABF. We already talked about that, but it's GIBF.
IBF, yeah. So
yeah.
the challenge
Oh boy.
is that the festival's been around longer. Honestly, I don't know one from another of which one's been around longer. But
Sure.
the Great International Beer Fest is one of the longest running brew fests in New England, which is hosted in Rhode Island, in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Right? Is it Pawtucket? No, Providence. Is it Providence? And every Friday, so it's a Friday night Friday and 2 sessions on Saturday brew fest. But on Friday during the day, they invite brewers from around New England or anyone that's available to come in and judge for basically. It's a brew competition, very similar to the Great International Beer Fest, the GABF.
Right.
And I don't know they haven't released all of the stats yet, but actually they did. There was 680 beers and ciders from breweries around the U.S.
That's a lot.
Where 120 professional brewers and beer industry professionals and beer journalists acted as judges in a blind tasting format. They were awarded first, second, and third place in 59 different categories of ales, lagers, and ciders. The competition had started in 1997, so it's been around for quite some time, and the GIBF has been around for 22 years. Now, if you notice the results of the GIBF versus the the GABF, there's a lot more New England breweries.
Yes.
Representation, exactly. So you can't go through a category in here without finding like someone from New England.
We got 3 main wins, and none of them are Allagash.
Well, I mean, because
I don't think Allagash entered.
Yeah, and Sean confused me with the GIBF ABF thing going on. There was only one GABF winner of New England of New Hampshire, but now we have a nice group of New Hampshire
winners. A lot from New Hampshire in here.
So Sean, what are some of the highlights? I know you're drinking a Rain Cloud, peanut butter Rain Cloud, but I did see the OG Rain Cloud 1A medal for the Robust Porter.
Right. Yep. The Foolproof did win for that. Just going through New Hampshire. Yeah. The first one that comes up is Red Hook won third place for the English ESBs for their ESB.
That's a really good ESB. I like their ESB. I think it's a good beer.
Solid.
From there, Kelson Brewing Company out of Derry won a gold for Battle Axe. You have Kelson also won in American Brown category for Paradigm. Brown Ale, they got a gold there, so that's walking away for 2 golds right there for one brewery. Granite Stout from 603 Brewery won a gold in the stout category.
Nice.
In the Belgian Dark Strong category, our friends at Martha's Exchange won for their 21st anniversary ale. And then out of a winner that I think won 9 medals last year, Elm City Brewing out of Keene won for the Abbey Double in the Belgian double/triple category.
Those are good medals from small breweries right there.
I think they won for a Kolsch too, didn't they?
Oh, they have the Peachy
I might not be
Kolsch?
there yet.
Yeah.
I thought I that earlier.
The Scotch category, Scotch Ale category, Millie's Tavern won for Bose Scotch Ale.
Oh, hey, that's a good ale.
So it's a gold medal there. In the Belgian French specialty, Martha's Exchange won again for Apple Brown Betty.
It's a good brew. And that actually, so quick side note, really quick, the very first keg of Apple Brown Betty to reach Levin reached last Saturday, which was great.
Ooh.
And there's also a cask of either that or another. I forget the beer over at Coat of Arms. It's probably gone by now, but it was really. Greg brought it up with them the day of the beer fest to spread the love. So.
And the last 2 from New Hampshire actually, Omission, in the gluten reduced category, won a gold or first place and a third place for. First place was Omission IPA, and third place was Omission Pale Ale.
Nice.
Only sandwiched in between the Barcelona brewery with Dora Dam or Dom.
Dom, nice.
Oh yeah, sorry. And at the beginning, Elm City Brewing one for Keen Kolsch.
Keen Kolsch, yeah, okay.
Keen
Yep.
Kolsch.
And they also have a variant, Peachy Keen, I think?
That Peachy Keen.
Peachy Keen, bruh. All right, cool. Sorry.
And
So,
if you go through all the Massachusetts ones, there's probably at least 50 Massachusetts
I
winners.
do want to give out to one main one though.
Do it.
I don't know if we're going to go through. Are you going to go through some good ones? Okay, good.
You can go through Maine. No, go through Maine.
Okay. We won 3 in Maine. One of them was a first place, and the other 2 were not first place. So the one that won 3rd place in the fruit/spice beer category was actually Sea Dog Blueberry Wheat. It was cool. Second in that category was the coconut port.
And it froze for a second.
I think I heard it.
No, it froze on mine.
Oh.
Yep, and then in the strong other category, they had the second place went to Smashed Pumpkin from Shipyard. But I want to give the biggest shout out to the first place for the Lager Continental Pilsner category went to Pepperell Pilsner from Bandit Horn, who makes really awesome beer. So congratulations to Bandit Horn for that. I'm pretty sure that's the first time they've ever medaled in something like this, and big deal for those guys. So cheers to that.
Awesome. Cheers indeed.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So Mass, you have a couple? You have a listed, Sean, or?
Yeah, the problem is that there's so many winners.
Totally, yeah. So,
you can't go through a category without finding some. There's some breweries here that I'm for
I've never even heard of Bad Martha Farmers Brewery out of Edgartown.
No, so Bad Martha's been around for a while. The guy who started used to be one of the brewers at Ipswich Ale Company.
There he is. Look at Sean.
Ipswich Ale Brewing.
That's
good dude.
So big.
But what about Kretschmann Brewing Company out of Webster, Mass?
Big Kretschmann. No, I've never heard of him.
Won a second place for their Hefeweizen. Or Hingham Beer Works, or the Beer Works family. Won 3rd place for the Weizenbach Dunkel category.
So does the judging? Do you know, Sean? Didn't you judge for this one?
I judged last year. I couldn't fit it into my schedule this year. I wish I did.
And we talked about it last year, but really quick, as a judge, is it blind? You get beers for a style, and you pick the one. You don't know what beer it is.
You have no idea what beer it is. They come out with beer after beer after beer. Sometimes it might be 30 beers in a category, and there's a couple tables working on it together, and then everyone submits like, hey, here's my favorite 2 out of it, and you don't know what they are. And the challenge is that like on certain beers, let's say it's a Kolsch, you could have 10 Kolsches that are awesome Kolsches, but sometimes you're looking for that one that's different than the others. Maybe it's a little bit spicier. Maybe it's just got that extra flavor to it. Maybe it had a better nose. Maybe it has better clarity. And you're like, okay, all these other ones were probably great beers, and it could be from one of the best breweries in the world. But you get drawn to like saying, okay, I have to choose out of these 8 beers which one I'm going to put into like the qualifying round.
Now, sweet. Is this an event that? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say that Riverwalk Brewing won 2nd place for Uncle Bob's Bitter.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Fan. Now, is this a festival like any festival where people can go and like try the beers, or is this just strictly judging festival?
So the festival part, it doesn't represent a lot of breweries enter into the competition that don't participate in the festival, which is very similar to the Great American Beer Festival in Colorado.
Sweet.
Because there's only so much space that the festival can fit. I'm looking at Newburyport. I think won 5 medals, and they may have only been able to pour like their certain beers that I think some of the beers they had were just limited release beers that they didn't have available for a festival. When I was looking at results or like the tweets that were happening over the weekend, I think Two Roads Brewery may have won like 9 medals.
Wow.
Or 9 golds.
They just started distributing in Maine, actually, like last week.
Yeah.
Sweet.
They had a couple of top takeover events, and I tried a bunch of their beer, and really good.
That's cool. Yeah. So
So they won a total of 14 medals.
Oh.
And I believe. Which is quite amazing for any brewery.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we for those that want to know the show notes, they're right there. We have the whole list. You can check it out there. Let's get into kind of the meat of the story here, so we can. It's coming, and it's if you thought there was a big storm out west, there's like a hurricane, whatever. There's a big storm coming next week, and it's called Portland Beer Week. And Carla, I don't feel bad for you because it's one of the coolest weeks ever. But how do you want to tackle this? Do you want to give a quick overview of what this is? Obviously, it's kind of obvious, but we can kind of go through some of the events and pick some of the faves.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of events that are going on all week. There's a couple, like every night there's something different going on at the Great Lost Bear. But there are a few that are kind of unique or that were really cool last year that I just want to give shout outs to. But Portland Beer Week is in celebration of all Maine beer. It's just all of the events happen to take part around the Portland area. Actually, last week they did a Bangor area beer week, so that was put on by the Bangor Chamber of Commerce or Visitors or whatever. So that's more about the city of Bangor. This is more about the beer. A lot of the the proceeds go to the Maine Brewers Guild, and they help to organize a lot of it. But it's a big collection of events, basically just celebrating all this crazy beer that we have in the state. So as usual, there are an insane amount of events. So obviously, we don't want to go over all of them, but if you are looking for a complete listing, go to portlandbeerweek.org, follow at 207 Beer Week on Twitter, and just listen to everybody who you know who's a beer geek talking about it on social media. I'm right now trying to plan out exactly how I'm not going to end up with liver damage by the end of the week.
I saw your tweet. That's a good tweet.
So Brian, you know where you're going to be on Saturday, right?
No.
Well, at 7 o'clock on Saturday night, there's a Bissell Brothers Pro Wrestler Costume Throwdown.
Why?
Oh, yeah.
Why was I not informed? I should be a judge. What's going on? This is crazy. I'm calling
I can talk
them.
to people. You can become a judge, dude.
Hey, make it happen, Captain. as a former wrestling fan, this would be cool. I hate wrestling now.
That's unfortunately on Halloween night, so I don't know if you're already booked with.
No, I got trick or treating Saturday. I mean, I go trick or treating Saturday or Friday.
So it is
cool,
from, as they're mentioning, it's from the 1st through the 7th. Officially, but there are some pre-events on the 31st, and then there are some post-events on the 8th. So if you really want to get technical, it's probably from Halloween to November 8th.
Okay.
But yeah, the costume throwdown. But that's not the only wrestling event. Actually, on Monday night, they're screening Monday Night Raw on the TV at the Oxbow Tasting Room.
Oh my God! There's a whole new thing I need to. Sean.
Remote podcast.
Yeah, this is happening. Oh man, that's awesome. Podcast. I love how it's all that it is though. The event is Monday Night Raw at Oxbow. I'm like, that's
basically
all I need. Oh my God.
Well, I do want to back up just a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. So what I'll do, I think, is I'll just touch on a couple events each day. I'm not going to tell them all. Like I said, go look up, everything that's on there, and there are tons of venues involved. So if I missed your favorite event, I'm, no offense meant. Sunday is kind of the start of everything. Officially, and the event there that I am totally into is the freshman orientation event. This was the one that last year they took all of the new breweries that had opened over the past year. There were, I think, 12 or 14. Put them all in one room and basically let everybody have a mini festival with all these new breweries. This year there are significantly fewer breweries, but it is still, they're new, and a lot of them are far-flung, including the one in Lubec. So Lubec Brewing Company is going to be there, which saves me a really long trip. And
you
also,
still have to go there, Carla.
And I will, but at least now I'll know if the beer is worth the drive.
Correct.
But yes, what I'm kind of excited about though is that most of them are from the Bangor area. We had a little bit of a Bangor beer boom happen in the past year or so. So you've got Orno Brewing Company, Marsh Island Blank Canvas, and a whole bunch that are just kind of Squaretail, I believe, is up there too. Just totally popped up. They're booming up there. So, if you ever, when it's not cold, feel like going to Bangor, Orno area, there's some cool stuff going there. And the other one on Monday that's pretty cool is that they're doing a special version of one of the Maine beer tours, and it's about basically the evolution of beer. So it's to give you the entire rundown of the evolution of beer from the ingredients you pick up at the homebrew supply store to chatting with and sampling from a professional brewer and everything in between. So you end up going to a whole bunch of places. You're going to go to Maine Brewing Supply, Four River Brewing Company, which is one of our breweries in planning, and then you'll finally end up at Austin Street. But it's cool that this happens before that freshman orientation, so if you want to go to that too, they'll drop you off there.
Man, that's awesome.
Which is pretty neat. So that's like your whole day there, but there are, like I said, there's a million events going on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that freshman class event a lot. That was
it was so much fun last year, and the crowd or the class last year was great. The class this year looks great too. I mean, I was just talking to Ben and I were just talking over the freshman class, and we had Tributary, Bannon Horn, like those names. Bissell was there, so like the names that you're hearing like every day now were freshmen last year. Like, come on. So just so these names, like, you're gonna want to get in on this event to say like you had these beers before they got crazy. Yep. But yeah, good call.
Which is very cool. So I already talked on Monday about the Monday Night Raw thing.
Yes, I'll be there.
But for the beer focus geeks, I would point you guys to the Maine Malt House Presents event. It's going to be at the Thirsty Pig. It's basically a tap takeover, but the beers there are all made with the Maine malt, so the local malt from Maine Malt House. You're going to have beers there from various breweries, including Atlantic, Allagash, Rising Tide, and Shipyard. So those will be beers that you probably won't be able to get again. So for the people looking to
untappers.
What did you say?
For those that are untappers that are looking for the
unique. If you're a beer ticker, that's the event that you'll be looking for on Monday. All right, I think I'll move to Tuesday. On Tuesday, the event that I want to shout out and that you need to get tickets to right now, it's cheap, just reserve it, do it, is they have an election night Pro-Am competition at Salvage Barbecue. And when I first heard this, I didn't really know what a Pro-Am was. But last year, what they do is they partner up a professional brewer and a home brewer, and they come up with a pilot beer together.
Whoa.
And so then this is like and then it's a competition between them as to who has the best Pro-Am beer. So basically you get to taste all these different beers, you get to put your vote in, and they're changing the way they did it this year. Neither of you guys came to this last year, did you?
No.
Okay. Last year it was kind of like you went up to the bar, it was a pay-as-you-go kind of thing, you could get little samples, but you kind of had to keep going up to the bar to get them.
Yep.
This one you pay $20, and it gives you a sample glass, and then you get basically a ballot, tickets, and you go around and you can try all of them like at little stations around Salvage Barbecue.
That's cool.
So
solid.
And Salvage, oh boy.
Yeah, and it's Salvage, which is also awesome.
Yes.
And they've got some really
guaranteed an awesome night there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and they've got some really good breweries. I mean, somebody paired up with Barreled Souls and Bissell Brothers and Liquid Riot and Austin Street. So there's going to be some really fun beers in there, and also, just supporting the homebrew community is really cool. And meeting those guys and just seeing how proud of they are, of what they made. I think it's just awesome. That's one of my favorites of it.
So do you know the other part of this though? Because I think what happens is that if you do a Pro-Am competition, you can then enter that Pro-Am competition, enter that beer into the Pro-Am of the GABF. Oh. So if you remember, let's say maybe 4 or 5 years ago at this point now, Wormtown won one of the Pro-Am medals as a gold at the GABF with their Pro-Am beer that they submitted.
Neat.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's only $20, but there's only 50 tickets. So go get one.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, get them.
Because if you don't get one and you show up, you can't have any of the beer.
Yeah, and it's sad face.
That's super sad.
All the sad faces.
And also, a new one this year on Tuesday is Cider Night. So if you've got folks that have gluten issues or people who just prefer cider, and you're dragging them to all these beer events, here's a good one as an alternative. You've got Urban Farm Fermentary, Maine Meadworks, Bantam, and Woodchuck are all going to be doing kind of a tap takeover down at the Thirsty Pig. And the owners of most of these cideries are actually going to be around, and they're also going to have one of those Randalls that Dogfish Head makes to infuse
Nice.
other fruit on site. So they're going to be doing some fun stuff
Oh,
there.
Randall ciders, nice.
Yeah, so I've never had a Randall cider, so
No.
that sounds like a lot of fun to me.
Sean, was that a smash can you put up in the
That
screen?
was a smash can. It was
Sorry.
smash number 1 with single malt pilsner
Cool.
and single hop Galaxy.
Nice. What else you got, Carlo?
All right, so
Keep going.
I'll keep it brief. Like I said, there's a ton of other ones, but another unique one on Wednesday, a beer and mushroom tasting.
You got to be a fun guy if you're gonna go to that.
Oh, God. That's a good one. Pretty good one.
That was for Pat.
I personally love mushrooms, so again, that's at the Thirsty Pig, and it's the Maine Cap and Stem Mushroom Company, who's going to be paired with some various beers. It doesn't have a whole lot of details on there, but just sounds really fun to me.
That's cool. Yeah, what's good to see is there's like solid events during the week. Even for the locals that might not want to come out on a weekend, like it's hard hitting almost every night or every night.
Yeah.
So, Carla, I don't know the geography of Portland too well. Are a lot of these places at least in walking distance? Like, is Maine Brewing Supply in a downtown area?
No, but that one's you're picking up on a bus. So basically but most of these events are on the peninsula, which means they're down in the old port. You can walk between them. No big
Uber.
deal. There aren't very many that are far out. I think the farthest one out is basically the Great Lost Bear, just on that other side of Forest Ave. Most of them
Salvage is kind of out by itself, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's like a 10-minute Uber at best.
Yeah,
maybe?
at best. It's just on the West End. But there's a whole bunch of West End. There's a whole bunch of West End bars out there. So there's also like LFK and like it's in that neighborhood.
LFK. I haven't been there in a dog's age.
Yeah.
Is Oxbow, Portland close to like Thirsty Pig, close to?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so here's a brief, quick geography lesson. So the Portland is shaped like a boot, like the bottom of a boot, right?
Okay.
So if you're looking at a map of Portland, you've got the right-hand part of the boot is basically Munjoy Hill and the east end, and that's the part that goes uphill. That's where Mama's Crowbar used to be. That's where the Oxbow tasting room is. That's where a couple of places up the hill are. Just down the hill from that is where Rising Tide and UFF and all of those guys are in that little
bunker action there too.
East Bay
Whole
side.
Foods.
If you come towards the ocean, like south, if you're looking at the boot, that's all the Old Port, the Commercial Street, that's Liquid Riot, Novare Res, King's Head, all that down there.
Thirsty Pig.
Thirsty Pig's right down there, yeah, because that's across the street from Novare. And then if you go to the west, so basically the heel of the boot, you end up, that's the west end, so that's where Salvage, LFK, Bram Hall, a couple of those guys are in that direction.
Little Pieman Miyake action.
Now the breweries up in Industrial Way are on the other side of the highway. They're up. They're not even in.
Right. Yeah, they're not.
Almost all the events are in one of those three places. They're either the West End, the Old Port, or on the hill or in East Bay side. So they're all even from end to end is a 10-minute Uber ride. So it's kind of how much you really want to get your step.
I'll tell you this. I've never been to it. But Hella Good Tacos is doing like 4 or 5 events.
Hella Good Tacos is as it says, hella good.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be probably not like the first place that anyone goes to for great beer or doing different events, but that's really cool. And like a Mexican beer night, hey, that's what it's your demographic. Sell some Mexican beer.
Yeah, and what I do like is that there is a variety of places. These are not all like high-end fancy pants places. They're not all tap takeovers. They're not all like restaurants that are just pub food. There's so much, I can see a lot of different people liking a lot of different events. Like you might go to
this place on Terlinga or Terling?
Oh yeah, Tributary at Terlingua.
Yes.
On Thursday.
And now you're going to stump me because that one is on Washington.
I love it. The new game, Stump the Beer Babe.
We did it.
Oh, that's over by. Okay, no, that's on the hill. So that's near Oxbow. So that's near the Oxbow tasting room. That Washington Ave right there.
Sweet. Cool.
So I have never been there though. So
Tributary
that's
coming in hot.
Yeah.
Bringing their beer up north.
Beer dinner. That is on Thursday? Did I just click on that?
Now, Carl, I know that you can't touch on everything, but I believe you went to last year where the wild beers are.
Oh, I did too.
I did. And that
Tasty.
was great.
Yes. Wait, when is it?
That's on Saturday, 11/7.
That's where I'll be, by the sounds of it.
Yes, because I have, sours and wild beers and stuff are like have a great place in my heart, and I took a few days to recover before that.
Yeah.
What day is it this year? Is it still Sunday?
Saturday the
Saturday
7th.
Yeah.
Saturday the 7th. Okay.
What do you know about the annual Will Bowl for Beer tournament?
Just gonna ask.
Because I think we should settle up.
Have you guys ever been
Forget about your
podcast team.
faces. I'm in.
Have you guys ever been to that bowling alley?
No.
No.
Oh, it's wicked cool. So
Ben
it's
always
actually
goes.
like a craft beer bar / bowling alley. So they have like really good beer. You can get a picture of like, main beer company Peeper and bowl, and it's real bowling. It's not the Candlepin. It's like 10-pin.
As
I
it
don't know
should.
what you call regular bowling. Like I'm not
10
familiar.
pin, yeah, 10 pin. Yep.
The big balls.
Big balls, yeah.
The big balls. I know for a fact that there are a lot of breweries that have bowling teams. Like Sebago has a really good bowling team that kicks everybody's butt
Nice.
all the time. So they have leagues where they're doing this all the time.
Maybe we can get. Is this 10 pin or like big
10
ball?
pin.
bowling?
10-pin, big.
10 pin.
Really big ball. Yeah.
Big.
Yes.
Maybe we can get SBL podcast bowling shirts.
I mean, it's
That would be so cool.
next year. I guess we have to enter because I don't know if we can do it for
That's
next
so
Friday.
early, though. Oh no, wait, I can make that.
5:30.
Yeah,
No, I'm saying to make shirts. It might be a bit of a rush.
Oh yeah, but
we can fake it.
Totally.
$15. Sign up as a team of 5 people. Can we get BM Watts to come?
Ben always goes there and he never tells me. So maybe we can talk to him. It's
Let's do it.
Friday, and
That would be fun. And I'm not a terrible bowler.
my wife will show up. I don't know what the skills are there, but
she's got mad skills. She's a
mad skills.
figure skater. It's figure skating skills.
Oh,
Let's
boy.
talk about that. 'cause
Spoiler
that
alert.
could be really fun.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. That's actually a pretty good idea. But when's the deadline due for signups? Because I bet you there's.
It does not actually say, but I would imagine sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'll see
Not
what
sold out yet, so.
I'll see what she's got going on. Because I know Sean and I are looking to do something midweek. I'm just tossing out there maybe Tuesday, but we'll talk off podcast what's going on here. But,
There's a ton of stuff. Yeah, election night. Yeah, let's do it.
I'm
Yeah,
thinking-
I'm ready to vote.
Come up for the pro.
Hey, I'm not a registered voter, but I will vote for a beer. So it's
Heck,
Yes.
if you wanted to go to Oxbow for Monday Night Raw, let's do it.
wait, no, I can't do Monday because we got the no. It's anyway.
We'll
We'll
do a show
talk.
from there.
Yeah. Oh my God, that'd be awesome during
Yeah, you
commercial
probably could.
breaks.
There's plenty of room. They could stick you behind a barrel and no one would ever know you're there.
We would do a Raw post show. Don't even get me started because it's too far up. I can't drive there on Monday.
I'll do it.
But yeah, so again, all this stuff. Is there anything else, real quick, Carla? Any big events that you want?
No, just really pay attention. And the other thing I just wanted to give a quick shout out to is that there is actually a vote, speaking of voting, for superlatives, which, like in your yearbook where you say most likely to succeed or that type of thing, they have some categories in there about, best looking brewery owner, best, beer tenders. If you're familiar with the Portland beer scene, I encourage you to kind of fill that out. It's kind of an internal thing. They're just having a little after party for the people who help organize Portland Beer Week, like industry folk.
Yeah.
But it is kind of a pat on the back to some of your favorite people. I nominated some of my favorite bartenders in town, so I'll be voting for those guys. But it's
Are we gonna have to vote most likely to succeed or most likely to fail? Is that where we're?
No, these are all. It's nicer than that. We should do another secret one that's like brewery that probably won't be open in a year, or
Ooh, I would love that.
that would be funny.
You
But
click
mean,
here on the podcast. No, I'm
really
kidding.
publicly mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just keep going and looking at the events. They still keep being updated. They're on Facebook. They're on the PortlandBeerWeek.org site. Check it out, because
Totally.
you'll see me there if I don't get a flu in the middle of the week like I did last year.
Yeah, and I mean,
Remember Amber and I went up there and you were sick.
I was sick. I was like legitimately sick halfway through that week, and I was like, "This is terrible. I'm pale. I feel like I'm going to puke." It was terrible.
So I will, because we all have been involved in a beer week at one point or another, and I know that there are people all here listening to us. I like the site. I like the layout. I like the fact that there is a PDF printable calendar of
one-shot
events.
Great.
But my worry is that I'm looking at that calendar of events and I'm missing out on something.
Yeah.
I find it there's never a best way to do this. I find it that there's not an easy way for me to look at everything all at once.
No. Although I will say having that is better than not having it, which we haven't.
Oh, please don't take it. I love it. I appreciate it.
But yes.
But if something gets added last minute,
yeah, you gotta check the Facebook, you gotta check the site. But I do like the way the site's organized because you can just flip through what's going on Sunday real quick.
Yeah, by the day, I like it. Yeah,
or you can do it by venue or by brewery. So if you want to just see everything that's happening at Novari Res, you just click on Novari Res and you go, okay, on Wednesday they're doing an Oxbow bottle tasting. On the 6th, Dieu du Sel is coming, and on the 7th is where the wild beers are.
Yeah.
I really like that I can do that either way. So if somebody says, oh, what's happening at what's happening at X place tonight, I can just click on that and go, oh, well, it's this. And
I will tell you this though, that if you click on in the brewery section, just choose Allagash.
Yeah.
There are some fantastic artwork for some of some of the advertising and the stuff. There's some.
They've got their media stuff together. I think
I'm a little bit jealous. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, so for all the good stuff, check out portlandbeerweek.org. During our show next week, if there happens to be one, we'll be talking about it again, but really quick, and to kind of see how the first couple events went. But yes, check out the PDF, but also keep your phone locked on that website because it's going to be updated all the time. But as Sean,
water.
Yes, bring water. And as Sean alluded to a lot, there's a ton of places doing stuff, which brings up a great point. Is even if there's not an event happening, or if there's an event that's sold out that night, Portland is not shy on beer stuff. We were just talking about Hella Good Tacos. There's other great places. I don't even see Slab listed a bunch, but that's one of my go-to places for beer. My point is, tons of great places in Portland. Even if you can't make one of these events, get there. Get to Portland.
Yep, just come up. Yeah.
But just say on top of that, Brian, that these brewery you put on, it's like a Rising Tide tap takeover on Sunday, I think, or Monday.
Yeah.
Awesome, right?
Yeah.
But you go the next day and some of those beers are still going to be around.
Right.
Which is super cool. You can never guarantee that all of them are going to be there. I don't know. Maybe they're going in with 12 or 15. I have no idea. But you know that a good portion of those is going to be there for the next day. So if you miss it, show up when they open up the next day and get right in on it.
And even if you get there, there's no way that a brewery takes over all of Great Lost Bears taps. So maybe there'll be some other good taps alongside of those, unless
they're not telling you, like the secret tap.
Unless Rising Tide has enough beer to fill those taps.
Yeah. And what's cool about some of the tap takeovers too is that some of them are themed. So there's one that's all Maine IPAs. I want to go to that one just that I can for once and for all have them side by side and be like, this is my favorite.
Yes.
Because they're always my favorite when they're in front of me, right? But
Totally.
I never get to try them
Totally.
And Great Lost Beer is doing that. They have the IPA night with the
They're doing an IPA night. They're doing an alt night as well, I saw. That's very specific, and I'm down with that.
They should on the front and the back of that do a control and delete night.
All right, that's the end of the show. That's awesome. A control beer delete. All right. Well, so yes. Again, check out the website for Portland Beer Week. We're gonna be talking about it again, and keep an eye on not only at 207 Beer Week on Twitter, but at Beer Babe on Twitter, at Active Beer Geek on Twitter, and at all the breweries that you know on Twitter, because they're pretty good. And if our first 5 minutes of talking about last week in Maine wasn't enough, it's gonna be absolutely crazy. And maybe you'll see maybe you'll see us.
And hashtag 207 Beer Week.
Hashtag 207 Beer Week. Check the Instas, the tweets, the Facebooks, and all that. I think that's gonna do it for the show. I want to give a couple shout-outs. This is for the live people that are watching or are listening before tomorrow, which is Tuesday the 27th. Ben and I are doing a Let's Talk Beer live event at Earth Eagle tomorrow night, Tuesday. So spread the word. We're doing it big time there. Our first time doing it in Portsmouth, and we're ready to go. We're so ready to go. I'm going there right after this. I'm just gonna sleep over there and just get ready. But get there. This
Maybe
weekend.
you can break out your chalice.
No, so the chalices we all took home. So what happened? So we had
I
the Earth
didn't
Eagle.
hear. What was the news?
So well, the big news is Earth Eagle's closing. No kidding. No, we had the Earth Eagle Mug Club party last week, and I believe they're redoing the mug situation. I believe they're not going to number them anymore, much like Portsmouth Brewery does with their mug club.
Oh, okay.
That's the rumor I've heard. But when we went to the
It
mug
allows
club,
more people to be involved.
I believe so. So we were told to take our glasses home after the party. So we're like, gladly. So now we have 2 chalices in our house, which is super classy. I should have been drinking out of it tonight. That's a heck of a point.
Yeah,
But yes,
you can have like your own little Game of Thrones.
totally. Oh, and I
I
do.
wonder if I produce enough receipts if Novara will give me like an honorary shell.
I was gonna say, yeah, we've been here enough, and we talk about them enough. You should be able to get in there, and do that. But no, but so yes, Earth Eagle still has a mug club, but I haven't been there since last week to know what their plan is. But they have some great beers on. Ancestral. I just saw them cutting up a couple of pigs for their Porter Cachon. Literally, you can check it out on Facebook. Yeah, that's all I have for this. And then this weekend, I'm hoping to try to. Yeah, if I can't get up to Portland, I'm going to try to get up there next week. But this weekend, I'll be going over to just checking on my locals, checking on Neighborhood, Deciduous, seeing how those guys are. So Neighborhood's doing great. They just
I was gonna say I've heard really good things about Neighborhood from like lots of random people. They're like, "Have you had Neighborhood yet?" And I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh."
I mean, and I was there last week, and when they released a new beer called Firecracker. It's a golden. It's really good. And they're on a bunch of places in Exeter, so it's good going for them so far.
And who doesn't want to say the name Horst Dornbusch?
God, it sounds so. It rolls off the tongue not so well.
Just a fun name to say, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, shout outs to them, and like I said, if you get a chance to get to Earth Eagle anytime soon, get in there. But Carla, calm before the storm. Do you have anything coming up before Portland Beer Week?
Before Portland Beer Week, no.
Good.
Saturday.
Sleep.
Saturday, yeah, I'm gonna sleep and vitamin C myself so I don't get sick.
Self-induced
right
coma.
now, so.
Crazy. Well, all right. So we'll be looking for the tweets on the freshman thing because I don't think I'll be able to make it. It's Sunday is a freshman thing, so that's looking good. Shano, anything coming up?
Yeah, I just want to mention there's an Oxbow beer dinner coming up at Black Birch. I know it's already sold out. That looked like it was pretty good. I think it was sort of partnered partially with Allagash. I know a couple people going to it, tried to get into it, but I didn't pull the trigger fast enough. But there's 2 things coming up in the Massachusetts area that are to note. The Beer Summit in Boston, I think, is the 2nd or 3rd week in November. I was looking at the beer list and I was like, wow, there's a bunch of breweries in Mass that I've never heard of before, and it's always a big festival, so it's a good chance to get in and try some different beers that you haven't tried before. But if you're a fan of Rail Ale, also known as Cask Ale, Nerex North is coming up in, for I think, a 3rd or 4th consecutive year. It's being hosted at the Barking Dog Ale House in Haverhill.
When is it again? Sorry.
I think it starts the 7th.
I need to go because that.
It is one of my all-time.
It's a great fest.
It actually might be the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th.
Okay.
Of November.
Okay. Coincide a little bit with Portland Beer Week. We got some complications going on here. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly. It's a really solid event. It's based. I mean, it just features cask ale.
Yeah.
And ciders from. It's usually about a 50-50 split between European beers and U.S. beers, depending upon which. What happens is that they get. Probably for this festival, it's the smaller out of the 2 or 3, and it's only about 80 to 100 different casks. The full one is a lot more beers that they put on. But what happens is some of the beers come in, and if they're not ready and they're not pouring right, they're not going to pour it at all. They're just going to put it aside, and it's basically goes to waste, or if it's not, or it'll be drank at a later point. So they really take care of the beer there, and it's all either hand pump or gravity pull, gravity taps on the firkins, and usually you could find a great diamond in the rough, a beer that you've had before, but you've never had it in this combination, whether it was aged on some sort of hops or some other ingredient, and it just kind of changes it and like just blows your mind a little bit of what you can do with beer.
I'm ready for it. That's awesome. And then you might find Sean and I maybe sometime in at Portland Beer Week. But
Definitely.
One of those is a cask night.
oh man, big fan. So let's we're gonna close it out because Carla needs some sleep before next week,
Yes.
and Sean and I need to figure out what's going on. But until next time, appreciate you guys joining us on Monday nights, and if you watch it live, and if not, give us a shout out SBL Podcast hashtag on Twitter. So night, guys. Cheers.
Night. Cheers.
Bye.